The following gaming review and/or tips video may contain spoilers. Hail, good viewers and listeners in, and welcome to another episode of Old Games. It's me, your man with the plan, your host with the most, your favorite well-aged fart, Old Cyril. No, thank you, you're too kind. Today's old game is the 2011 cult hit Catherine. No, it's not a homebrew softcore porn game. It's a studio-made softcore porn game. Half puzzler, half social simulationer, Catherine is a unique game which doesn't fit into any particular mold. You play as a happy chappy whose life begins to unravel after a chance encounter with a smoking hot blonde. An intimate encounter. Plenty of fish style. Hey John, do people still use Plenty of Fish to meet up and exchange STIs with random strangers?
Everybody uses Tinder now.
Oh, well then, you play as a happy chappy whose life begins to unravel after he hooks up with an 11 out of 10 Tinder style. Did I mention said happy chappy has a girlfriend of 5 years who happens to be pregnant with his baby? Well, I did now. The game is split into night and day segments. You spend the night segments in a pit solving puzzles to run away from your life's problems. Conversely, you spend the day segments in a bar drinking to run away from your life's problems. So, we've established that Catherine is an intriguing, unique, and most importantly, sexy game. But is it any good? Well, fuck! Let's muff dive right in and find out! Post haste! Disclaimer! There are actually 2 distinctly different versions of the game. The original 2011 release, simply titled Catherine, and a 2019 update called Catherine Full Body, which includes a decent amount of new content. For the purpose of this video, I'm reviewing the full body version of Catherine since it doesn't fundamentally change the game, but it does add some interesting new stuff, not the least of which is a new character, but we'll get into that a bit more shortly. In Catherine, you play as Vincent, the aforementioned happy chappy. He's your average everyday schlub who's obliviously coasting through life when we meet him. Bizarrely, every woman old Vincey boy meets wants to shag his brains out. Even more bizarrely, he considers this to be a problem. I wish I had his problems.
You have really bad diarrhea.
This guy and his excuses. Seriously, bro. You already fucked her. The damage is done. May as well keep it rolling at this point. Vincent is the ultimate pushover. He even gets his ass kicked by a girl. Disgraceful. In the original Catherine, there were 2 titular characters, but in the full body update, there's 3 chicks named Catherine who are all fucked up in their own way. Just like real life women, am I right? First off, there's Catherine with a K. She's Vincey boy's miserable, boring nag of a girlfriend. Then there's Catherine with a C. A free-spirited nympho who has a one-night stand with our boy Vincent, which turns into a nightly bang, but with many, many strings attached. Finally, there's Catherine with a Q. What? Catherine with a Q? I didn't even know you could spell Catherine with a Q. But anyway, she's a young amnesiac that Vincent saves from some unseen stalker at the start of the game. She appears to be a tween, but that doesn't stop her from jailbaiting Vincent any chance she gets. And hoo boy, does she ever jailbait Vincent! I haven't seen this level of jailbait since that Cummies video.
Harder, Daddy. 1, 2, cummy 3, cummy 4. I'm Daddy's princess, but I'm also a whore. He makes me feel squishy. He makes me feel good. He makes me feel everything a little should. What?
For simplicity's sake, let's call K Catherine K, C Catherine Cat, and Q Catherine Rin. In recapping the plot, I'm going to avoid major spoilers and anything that isn't obvious from watching trailers, gameplay footage, etc. until the end of the vidya. But don't worry, before going into anything too specific, I'll give you a spoiler warning. The story begins with a glimpse of Vincent and Kay's humdrum relationship. They've been dating for 5+ years and have become complacent.
So I'll be handling all our bank accounts.
Like fuck you'll handle the money! We see through flashbacks that Kat wasn't always the cantankerous owl beast she is today. And she was pretty damn hot too. But somewhere along the line she became a frigid old prude. Despite how boring it is, Vincey boy seems happy to continue coasting along in his relationship on autopilot. But that plan comes to a screeching halt when he wakes up one morning next to the smoking hot blonde Cat Catherine, and wacky Japanese penned madness ensues. Cat is essentially Vincent's dream woman made flesh. She's a sex-starved sexpot who is sexily sexy. Oh, fuck yeah! Now we're talking! Baby want bitty! Baby want bitty! What? No! No! Baby wanty! No! What a world! Vince gets shit on by everyone, and I mean everyone. By the end of the game, even the chick he's cheating on his girlfriend with starts giving him the gears like they're married. The problem is he's way too nice of a guy. He's even nice to a dude who threatens him on the phone. Don't be nice to that asshole! Tell him you're gonna kick him in the cock! The plot ranges from fairly realistic to downright unbelievable. An example of the latter is when Kay shows up while Kat is in Vincent's apartment.
Hurry up! Outside! Go. Sorry. I'm really sorry. Just wanted to protect you from the smell.
Huh?
He really smells. You know, and he was drinking last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm glad I got you out in time. Whew.
As if a meddlesome broad like Kay would buy that bullshit. And what the fuck is up with the ants? I don't get that. The story is a strangely cohesive blend of Western-style storytelling and anime-style storytelling. But old Cyril, what constitutes anime-style storytelling, you may ask? Assuming you're not a die-hard anime weirdo. I mean anime fan. Well, I could explain it to you, but why don't I just show you a couple of examples instead? First, here's a clip of Western-style dialogue.
What happened to him? An accident?
I don't know. Apparently his mother just found him dead in his room this morning.
Now an anime one.
Rin's trending, man. Big story about the beautiful pianist who lost her memory. They say, if you send someone a video of her, they'll get their wish granted.
Oh, come on.
Oh, well, I heard it lets you meet your true self.
See the difference? The acting isn't terrible, but it's, how can I put this, very Japanese. The English voice actors are top-notch, but because the dialogue was written by Japanese devs, the lines come off as sounding a bit alien. I think it's because of how insanely unrealistic the characters act. For example, a cop Vincent only just met confides in him not only that he killed his wife, but he's also pretending to still be investigating her murder from 6 years ago. A cop tells him this after meeting him once. For all he knows, Vincent could be a journalist, or another cop, or a pedophile. Actually, he is a pedophile. Just look at this shit. What a fucking pedo. The story isn't going to be the same for everyone due to multiple branching paths accessible via the choices you make in the confessional booth at the end of each puzzle segment. I've created multiple save files at different points in the game and made different choices just to see what happens. And the final third leg of the game is very different, with some choices even adding additional levels, so how you answer can really add to the replay value. Again, with the ants, what the hell is going on here? One commonality among all the anime I've ever seen is ridiculously abrupt topic changes. A character will say something deeply emotional or shocking, then suddenly change the subject and start talking about something lighthearted as if the previous conversation never happened. Catherine has this in spades. You might wonder why there's so many white honky crackers in Japan. Well, it's not actually set in Japan, even though everybody acts Japanese, has Japanese interests, and drinks sake.
Sake, please.
You're meant to believe this is set in the good old US of A. In my first playthrough of Catherine, I just assumed it was a bunch of expats living in Japan. It's common in Japan for foreigners to stick together because Japanese culture is fairly exclusive. It's not exactly welcoming to foreigners. But the game makes mention of it being set in America at one point. Still, the story is interesting in spite of all that I just mentioned, and is just weird enough to supersede all my prior complaints. By far the biggest addition in the full-body version of Catherine is the new character Rin. She brings out a new side of Vincent we didn't see in the original Catherine. His better side. What a fucking pedo. The ants! The ants! What the fuck is going on with the ants? They're even showing up during the puzzle stages now. Just watch, they're gonna symbolize something huge. It'll be a major plot device. Oh, it's just a rotten cake. Well, that was a bit of a letdown. Vincent doesn't remember most of his nightmares. For example, he doesn't remember Rin being there. Even when she drops massive hints like saying she hopes she'll see him tonight, he replies, "Hey, I always come here after work." Dumb fuck. In fact, nobody seems to remember their dreams, which is a hint at the bigger picture of the plot. There's an odd recurring theme where everyone shits on Rin's piano playing, even though there's nothing wrong with it. Jeez, everyone's a critic, hey?
Was he even listening? Anyway, you okay, Rin?
She's probably a dude, Vincent. Don't worry about it. I'm sure she can take care of himself. Eventually, Kay starts getting suspicious of Vincent's weird behavior.
Come on, I'm not keeping anything from you.
Yeah, he's not hiding anything, except a secret girlfriend and a pending statutory rape charge. So the gist of the plot is Vincent spends the bulk of the game running from his problems, both figuratively during the day and literally during the night in his horrifying nightmares, which consist of solving block tower puzzles. The objective of these puzzles is to strategically rearrange the tower of blocks in order to climb to the top and escape through the doorway, either before the ground falls out beneath you, or in the case of the boss stages, before whatever horrific monstrosity you're running from catches you. Think of it as actually being inside of a game of Tetris, but in reverse, with a pair of sexy man-eating butt cheeks chasing you. Speaking of man-eating butt cheeks, the boss stages are some of the best parts of the game. From evil babies to hot zombie girlfriends, the end of every stage sees you being chased by some sort of hellish creature. If only it was that easy to get rid of a kid, hey? Oh, whatever. I love my little knacker and you know it. The other sheeple, ugh, I hate that term, but for once it's appropriate. The other sheeple in the nightmare even have some character progression, with a few having full-blown arcs. For example, on the first couple of nights, the vast majority of the other guys in the nightmare are in denial of being sheep themselves, calling Vincent a sheep and claiming that they're the only human there. As the game progresses, more and more of them come to terms with the fact that everyone there, themselves included, are in fact sheep.
I have another reason to live now.
Jesus, even the sheep are pedophiles in this game. The arcs with the most depth belong to the sheep versions of people you meet in the real world, like the journalist who's always propping up the end of the bar. Most progress in a positive way, but some, like the regent haired sheep, are a little more varied. He goes from being one of the most positive sheep, and one of the first to exchange techniques with you and his buddies, to wallowing in self-pity off on his own in later stages. The best part is his buddies openly worry about him. This is what gives the world of Catherine so much personality in spite of the outlandish premise and frequent bizarre interactions which would typically ruin a game for me. Speaking of bizarre character arcs, they really get creative with some of them. Just look at this crazy shit.
I ran away from my mother a long time ago. My mother loved me dearly.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, what the fuck, dude?
Fuck.
Yeah, you took the word right out of my mouth, buddy. I mean, what are these writers on? Because I want some. Some of the NPCs are kind of annoying, but most are cool, and some even have amazing pearls of wisdom, like the fuck guy here. Wow, interesting perspective. I never thought of it that way. You're a deep guy. Aside from Rin, the other addition to the full-body version of Catherine is an option to play with remixed puzzles, which essentially just adds blocks which are joined together in various shapes. It adds an additional layer of challenge since you have to plan around moving multiple blocks at once, but it's not really that much different from playing the classic version. Nice little addition though. Let's see, what haven't I covered yet? Oh yeah, the soundtrack is top-notch and feels perfectly implemented. Just listen to this smooth jazz. Great. There's even some really good life advice in Catherine.
Do not die.
Oh, thank God she told me that. I would never have thought of trying not to die. And for any of you cinephiles out there, there's some nice artistically shot scenes in this game. For example, the tits into pupil shot is genius softcore porn cinematography. And I can't really disclose too much more than that about the game without giving away major plot points, so that means it's spoiler time! But before we get into spoilers, let's watch an ad from this video's sponsor. Hello, friend! Are you planning a wine tour in southern France in the near future? Are you a left-leaning hipster who spends an inordinate amount of time on Twitter arguing social justice politics with total strangers? Are you tired of paying exorbitantly marked up prices just to get a quality butt plug? If you answered yes to those questions, why not come on down to Boudreaux's best-priced butt plugs in Bordeaux, where they'll not only stretch your sphincter, but your dollar as well. They've got everything you could possibly want to shove up your ass. Frilly bunny tail butt plugs, emoji butt plugs, hell, even taxidermy butt plugs. In the mood for something completely different? Why not try this pink blobby thing? What is it, you ask? Well, I don't know, but you could probably shove that up your ass too. So the next time you're in southern France, stop by Boudreaux's best-priced butt plugs. And remember, come to Boudreaux's Janabor, no! Shove something nice up your ass, oh! Come to Boudreaux's Janabor, no! Don't forget to book your wine tour today! Or to Bico. Demand the most for your butt plug money. Come down to Boudreaux's best-priced butt plugs where they'll stretch your ass and your dollar. Spoiler time! Skip to the time below to avoid spoilers. Okay, last chance. I'm really gonna spoil the part about Rin being an alien and Cat being a demon. Okay, everybody trying to avoid spoilers gone? Here we go with the biggest spoiler of them all.
Long day. Huh? What the? That's smoke? Rin, you in there? What happened? Huh? Are you, okay?
I think I am.
But are you a guy?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Bam! I knew she was harboring a dick. Shut your mouth, Vincent, before she shoves her cock in it. Although it was pretty obvious, I mean, who showers with their legs crossed? She was tucked. Haven't you seen Silence of the Lambs? I hate to say I told you so, but it was bound to happen. I mean, Vince has been on a real hot streak. You bang enough hot chicks, you're eventually gonna run smack dab into a dick. You can quote me on that one. You're welcome.
Come on. You're acting like you've never seen anything like this before.
A girl with a big ol' swinging dick? Actually, no, I haven't seen that. Is that some kind of everyday occurrence around these parts? Well, as big of a shocker as that was, it wasn't really the biggest spoiler in the game. It turns out in Rin's true ending that she actually is an alien, and you thought I was fucking with you. And since she's neither a chick nor a dude, all you SJW shitstarters can look elsewhere for a cause to hitch your wagon to. Fuck ya! I spoke a bit earlier about the choices you're presented with in the game, and you get tons of them. Unlike the vast majority of games with quote-unquote branching paths, in Catherine your choices have a huge impact, determining not only which Catherine you'll end up with, but what type of ending you'll get with her. For example, there's multiple K Catherine endings, and depending on the choices you've made throughout the game, you'll either get a happy ending, not the Asian massage parlor type of happy ending, unfortunately. I know. A neutral ending, or a bad ending.
Run away from me!
Go home right now. Leave the rest to me.
Don't worry, baby. I hide dead hookers all the time. And I wasn't joking about C. Catherine being a demon either. At least in 2 of the endings I've seen of hers, she turned out to be a succubus.
Sooner than I
I
expected.
knew she was too good to be true.
Figured this was why you wanted to break up with me.
All in all, there's a whopping 13 unique endings. You can even end up with Rin's spicy boy pussy, so be careful how you answer them questions.
Now you showed yourself.
The last thing I'm gonna say before we wrap up is they could not have had a less accurate voice for Rin. If you're gonna include a trans woman in the game, at least represent her accurately. In general, transgender women do not sound like this.
It's okay. Know that I'll always be there for you.
In general, they sound more like this.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
See, there's a fairly noticeable difference there. All right, verdict time. Catherine is as good as you remember. I would say the full body version's additional content actually makes it better, but I would like the option to play the original as well, which is absent from that version, so I'm sticking with just as good. The Rin-Vincent love fest can get annoying as well at times. I'm honestly not even sure who's worse at this point, him for being a pedo or her for jailbaiting him. Would you two suck each other off and get it over with already? Yeesh! I only played through Catherine once back at release, but it really stuck with me over the years, and I've thought about it often, particularly the social sim parts in the bar. While I could have breezed through in mere minutes, I would often spend over an hour chatting to people or just hanging out. It's just a nice place to be. The game has aged remarkably well and still feels as fresh and unique now as it did upon release. It really says something for Catherine's originality that to this day, I still can't think of even a single comparable game. And it sold quite well for such a niche game, so I'm surprised there weren't any copycats. But I suppose that speaks to how good the game is when no one will even try to imitate it. And that's it! Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Till next time, fare thee well, fuckers! God damn, that's hot! I know it's a cartoon and all, but shit! I am still gonna fap to this! I don't give a fuck!